Hey everybody, and welcome to Thunder Bay, on land, on water, and on your plate. In this podcast episode, we explore one of Canada's most breathtaking summer destinations. From every angle, trail, shoreline, and dinner table. I'm your host, Jim Bamboulis, and today we're diving into everything that makes Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada a must-visit this summer. From stunning outdoor adventures and vibrant cultural festivals to crave-worthy eats that blend old favorites with bold new flavors, Thunder Bay serves it all with a side of pure northern charm. And who better to walk us through the ultimate summer experience than the man who knows it best, Paul Pepe from Thunder Bay Tourism. So grab your hiking boots, your paddle, and your appetite. Let's get into it. Paul Pepe, let's kick things off with a vibe check, shall we? What does summer in Thunder Bay feel like? And what makes it such a standout destination in the summertime?
Yeah. Well, Thunder Bay is a year-round destination, but I think one of the best things about Thunder Bay in the summer is, the long daylight that we have, the long days that we have. Sun's up by 5:30 a.m., sun sets at 11 o'clock at night, and that is a lot of daylight to get out and explore. And, we like to say Thunder Bay is Canada's premier outdoor city. And it's that, being on the shore of Lake Superior, the world's freshwater lake, which, most mornings in the summer is glassy calm at sunrise. And, getting out exploring on the lake, but, lots of great nature, walking trails, hiking trails, cycling, and a great food scene. So, the vibe here is all about, playing hard or playing as hard as you want outside, and then rewarding yourself with the city's, culinary and cultural attractions as well. So, Thunder Bay has that vibe. It's the kind of city for people that love that connectivity to the outdoors and connectivity to nature.
If you follow Paul Pepe on Instagram, guys, by the time you're done kind of washing your face and thinking about what your day looks like, Paul is on his stand-up paddleboard in the most serene water at sunrise. Can we talk about that post you posted earlier this week about just watching the sunrise over Sleeping Giant on your paddleboard, and you can feel the silence in that photo?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, completely. I try to get out. I'm an avid motorcyclist. I'm an avid paddler. I love the fact that, we live in a city where we can do that minutes from our door. And, I most mornings I get up with the sun. I'm 3 blocks from the marina, and just to sit there on the board and just hear the silence of the lake, and watching the odd bird take off, watching the odd fish jump out of the water, looking out over the Sleeping Giant, watching the sun come up. To me, and it's therapy. Like, it's a great way to start the day, and it's just a great way to kind of ground yourself and reconnect, and and be appreciative of all the little things. And so that's something I try to do every morning that I can in the summer, and certainly encourage visitors to do that as well. Bring your boards up or rent a board locally. We always tell folks, get out on the water. When it's glassy calm like that in the morning, it's not the lake people think. It can be, it certainly can be, but in the mornings, it has many moods, but often in the mornings, it's so glassy calm that you get out there, and it's just a wonderful way to kind of reconnect with what's important.
What a post. I mean, you kind of, if there was a post that could transport people, that was it, especially for me. The best time to experience Thunder Bay obviously is any time, but walk us through what summer experiences await those visiting the city during the warmest months.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, the wonderful thing about summer here in Thunder Bay, temperatures are great. And, long hours of daylight, sun's up early, sun sets late at night, and you really get the opportunity to make the most of a Thunder Bay day. And I think in the summer, if you love the outdoors, it's really about, once again, getting out on the water, getting out on a paddleboard, a canoe, kayak, getting out on a fishing boat even. And, Lake Superior has over 82 species of fish. And it's a popular destination for those who love angling. And Thunder Bay is like a great trail network. Great bike lanes all through the city, connecting the city from Westport to Current River. All the neighborhoods in between, and great cycling paths as well. Shunya Mines, which is the local mountain bike facility, has incredible mountain biking trails for all skill levels. So, a day in Thunder Bay is getting out and exploring and getting active and checking out the waterfalls and checking out the conservation areas. Rewarding yourself with an amazing meal from, the globally diverse culinary experiences that you don't expect to find in a small city. And then we have the cultural experiences as well. We have live theater company here, a symphony orchestra, new art gallery is being built, Thunder Bay Art Gallery down in the marina, and a great live music scene at night. So you can really make the most of a day here in Thunder Bay.
So someone watching, someone listening will say, "Well, I got bands, I got waterfalls, I got outdoors,
Yeah.
I got biking. Why is it so unique to
Mhm.
experience those things in
Yeah.
Thunder Bay? What makes it
Yeah.
different up there?"
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of folks have, they think of Thunder Bay and they think of it as, they remember it from the 70s or 80s, a lot of paper mills and, a mill and mine town. And it's really so much more diverse in the last 20 years and become so much diverse. So it's not the city people remember, older folks, but, for younger folks, it's that surprise. It's a small city that has a vibrancy to it, that has a really eclectic music scene, a really eclectic food scene that people don't often expect to find in small Canadian cities that are, populations of 120,000 or so. So I think it's that surprise that people have. They don't expect to find the cool things that they do find once they get here. And, we're very laid back here. I posted this morning, Jim, that, I was out paddling again this morning at 7 o'clock on the lake, and I was sitting on my board having my morning coffee, and I posted that right now there's a lot of people sitting in their cars in traffic commuting to their jobs right now, and I am not one of them, and I never will be. And I think that's the other thing here. We're very laid back, very chill, very welcoming, very open, warm-hearted, and I think people who visit will feel that we're just a really cool small city that doesn't take life too seriously. We enjoy our connectivity to nature. We make that a priority here, and we love sharing it with visitors. And I think that's what people find, is that the friendliness here is really the icing on the cake for folks.
And it's welcoming, obviously, for those Canadians who are looking for a staycation. It's for those Americans who don't mind crossing the border going north, and of course, the
Yep,
international visitors, be it from the air, driving in, or even on water, right?
exactly. And that's just it. We're welcoming to all. And that's something that we still see. A lot of Canadians this year have inquiring, wanting to stay in Canada and travel, but we're getting a lot of American inquiries too, and so that's been really encouraging. A lot of Americans really want to explore Canada this year still, and the overseas market right now. Canada is a really attractive destination for the international markets, and they want to do the Canada road trip, the cross Canada road trip, and we are here right in the middle of Canada. And our visitor center, the Terry Fox Visitor Center on the highway, there's a monument that marks the spot where Terry Fox had to end his run in 1980, and that center is visited by hundreds of people every day, and so must stop for a lot of people doing the cross Canada road trip. And then once they talk to our staff at the visitor center, they get a lot of ideas and things to stay and see and do in the city while they're staying. And a one night stop turns into a 2 or 3 day stop. Because it really offers people a chance to see what's here in the community. So,
People are sticking around for the festivals. I mean, it's the heartbeat of
mhm.
summer, really. What signature events and hidden gems can visitors look forward
Yeah.
to in Thunder Bay during the warmest months of the year?
June 21st is National Indigenous Peoples Day here in Canada. And, we're on the traditional lands of Fort William First Nation, signatories to the Robinson Superior Treaty of 1850. And, this neighboring community to Thunder Bay, we have a really close, strong relationship with them. And so on National Indigenous Peoples Day, they will be hosting a powwow at Anemki Waju, which is Mount McKay, just south of the city. And that is a place where all are welcome. And it's a great opportunity for visitors who are in town that day to really learn more about Indigenous culture and history here in the area, and to participate in the powwow and to learn more and really be welcomed into the community. And I think that's a great event. That's something that people are interested in globally right now, is understanding and learning more about Indigenous culture in Canada. This summer, we have Bayfest this July, which is a 3 day classic rock festival. It'll be held at Fort William Historical Park. And, that's a festival that changes genres every year. And, last year it was country. This year it's, Canadian classic rock. Rock, and that's one that's always popular. A lot of people make time, build their vacations around it. And this September, early September, Wake the Giant, which is an annual. It's a one-day music festival. This year's being headlined by the Black Eyed Peas, and it's a festival of inclusion. It's Thunder Bay is a city that a lot of regional Indigenous youth come to the city each year for school and for high school and for college and university. And so this really came about as a festival, as an event to help them feel welcome in the community, and it's open to everybody, and it's really a festival of inclusivity and welcoming to students, and not just Indigenous students, but the students that come here from around the world for post-secondary education as well. So it's just a really great Saturday all-day party in the park on the waterfront that brings everybody together, and that just grows every year. So that's another big one. And then some of the hidden gems is the Live on the Waterfront series. So every Wednesday night down at the waterfront, down at Marina Park, the city hosts a free concert series every Wednesday night, and that draws on a nice, Wednesday evening. That's also the night of the keelboat races. So, the sailboats out in the harbor racing, and great backdrop to, amazing live concerts and on the waterfront. And there's vendors down there, food vendors, and it's just a great opportunity for people to take in the local and regional music scene. And with the sailboat racing, they also have a crew bench. This is super cool. If you've never sailed before, you can go sit on the crew bench at 5:30 on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday night during the summer months. And these keel boats are always looking for crew. So you have a chance to get on a crew, get on a sailboat, and go out and race and learn about sailing and in a very real time. And that is something, once again, a lot of visitors, they'll go sit on the bench, they'll get picked up by a crew for the evening, and they make new friends instantly. They learn the basics of sailing, and it's really part of that welcoming culture that we have here, that we want to share it with folks. So we don't take even our competitive sports, we don't take too seriously.
That's for all ages, for kids and kids at heart, right?
No, exactly, and it's completely free. And it really, I think, speaks to the welcoming culture of our community, where it's a great opportunity for folks to learn something new and make new friends, and some of those friendships are enduring for sure.
As far as Scandinavian, as far as kind of Finnish in particular, what festivals can people expect to experience with respect to that?
The Scandinavian culture here in the community is strong throughout the year, but throughout the summer, the Hoito, which was a classic local Finn restaurant for decades, over 100 years. Unfortunately, the building burned down a few years ago, but the Hoito lives on. And so at the Thunder Bay Country Market on Wednesday afternoons, we have an amazing farmers market here in the city that operates year round. But on Wednesdays and Saturday mornings, the Hoito is set up at the country market, at the farmers market here, and people can have a taste of the Hoito. These thin crepe-like pancakes and are really sort of signature to that Finn culture here in Canada, and something that's really celebrated locally. And so that's something you'll see. Certainly, Finnish musicians and you'll find throughout the community, and even in our art scene. The plays, Magnus Theatre. We have this amazing professional theater company, and from time to time, they'll do plays that really tie into the Finn culture here as well, of the community and region. So that Finn culture is very strong, as are our Indigenous roots here as well. We are on the traditional lands of Fort William, and people have lived here for thousands of years, and so our Indigenous cultural roots are also really strong here.
Outdoor experiences, cultural experiences. Let's talk eats. If Thunder Bay was a dish, what would be its secret ingredient?
I would say, it's either love or hot sauce.
Wow. Or a combination of both. Each have their own heat, right?
Exactly. As I said, I think, Thunder Bay is this incredible food scene. And, as I said earlier, our motto is, play hard and reward yourself. And, my background here is Sleeping Giant Provincial Park, and, which is one of Canada's most renowned provincial parks. It's absolutely beautiful. You can see the catamaran, the Sail Superior catamaran there in front of it. And it's the kind of place where a lot of people are drawn to Thunder Bay to go out and do those epic, iconic hikes to the top of the Giant and hike around the park. And, you build up an appetite, come back into the city at night and have this amazing meal. We're home to Heartbeat Hot Sauce, which is, a really well-known brand. It's becoming more internationally known. They got their start here in Thunder Bay. It's a really popular dish. So many restaurants carry it. Grocery stores all carry it. And, once again, there's that hometown pride of it starting here and flourishing here. The Persian, which is, an iconic Thunder Bay. I call it delicacy, but there's nothing delicate about it. It's a giant fried cinnamon bun covered in like a strawberry icing of secret ingredients. And it is something that a number of stores, Persian Man being the originator of it here in the city, but a number of bakeries produce their own variation of it. And the Persian is a must have for a lot of folks. And as of course, we're on the shore of Lake Superior, 82 species of fish in the Great Lakes or in Lake Superior. Smoked fish, smoked local fish from the fish shop is another sort of iconic ingredient that, people have to try while they're here. So, those are some of those local ingredients. Thunder Oak Cheese Farm, Gouda curds. You've had them. I've had them. They're amazing. That's just some of the iconic local flavors of our city that, a lot of restaurants embrace and that, visitors can pick up at any number of businesses locally as well. So.
People love the vintage and the classic. People love the new and current. Talk to us about must-visit kind of classic foodie joints in Thunder Bay and who is making kind of the scene now and what should people enjoy on a more contemporary level?
Yeah, lots of choice, Jim. It's a hard one to nail down exactly, without leaving anybody out because they're all so good. And, our website has that definitive list, visitthunderbay.com has that definitive list of restaurants. But, I would say some of the classics in Thunder Bay are, McKellar Confectionery, been around forever. If you like a good slider, a hot dog or hamburger, they've been around forever. That's really iconic for a lot of folks, especially people that grew up here, moved away. They always come back for that. Some of the classics, Caribou. Restaurants been around, a long time and just consistently good sort of modern Canadian dining is always, always, always in style. And, 20 years later, it's as busy as it was the day they opened. That's something when people are really looking for a special occasion dinner, that's a must stop. Prospector Steakhouse is another one right down in the waterfront district. It's been around. It's been an icon in Thunder Bay. It's an old former bank building downtown. And, they're renowned for their prime rib. And, they only open for dinner every day and it fills up. And so once again, they've been around for over 45 years and is a staple of the community. So, those are some of the ones that are examples of some of the classics here in the community that have been around for years. Some of the new ones, Tomlin Restaurant downtown is they've been around for about 10 years now. But the lineup, it's the place where you can have the most amazing dry aged ribeye of your life. And the lineup starts, they open at 5 and the lineup starts around the block at 4:30 in the afternoon. And I think people skip out of work or whatever. I don't know. They go wait in line to get a table at 5 for that place. Tomlin also has Tomlin Subdivision around the corner. They opened up a few years ago. Great Detroit style pizza, chicken wings. There's some really cool variations on comfort foods. And it's inside the Lakehead Beer Company. Which is one of our 3 local, brewers here, in addition to Sleeping Giant and Dawson Trail. So, we have these 3 great local breweries that have all, established themselves over the last decade that all have these amazing tap rooms as well with local flavors, local foods. One of my favorites also, Daytona's. It's a place just reopened under new ownership of the children of the original owners. And it is a place across the street from a truck stop, right in the middle of the city, very industrial area of city. But the food and the ingredients and the local connectivity, it's a must stop for their lunches and dinners as well. So that's just a little sampling of the restaurant scene that we have here in Thunder Bay, and that also includes we have Syrian, we have Korean, we have a lot of Southeast Asian flavors as well. So a lot of global flavors that you don't expect to find in a small city.
I'm a sucker for the old school. I love that stuff, but I'm also a sucker for the unique. And there's not many places where you can go for a sauna, have a business meeting in the sauna, and then top it off with, let's say, a pancake dinner.
No, exactly. And that's, just once again, part of our laid back culture, right? The norms are different here. And, Kangas sauna, you hit the nail on the head with that one. That one's been around once again for generations here in the community. Public saunas where you can go rent a sauna from, a small 2-person one up to a business meeting sauna. And it's just wild. And then they have a great on-site restaurant that serves Finn pancakes and Finn food. So, that's an example. And you're right. The Sal in Westport, Westport's this really cool neighborhood that's really been undergoing a lot of young entrepreneurs have been moving into the neighborhood and really rejuvenating it, including the owners of the Sal. And they've just opened up an event space around the corner from there in an old hardware building, and East Coast Lobster, fresh fish shop as well is in that neighborhood as well. But the Sal's been around for decades here. So, As an example, you see these classics here in Thunder Bay, and they're peppered throughout all the neighborhoods in the city as well. So Thunder Bay for 120,000 people is fairly spread out along the shoreline. In fact, we have 52 kilometers of shoreline within the city limits. So the city's kind of spread out, and we have these really cool laid back neighborhoods all throughout the city that all have their little gems in them. And I think that's the fun for folks, is going to explore them. One of my personal favorites, the commissary, is this great smokehouse in this neighborhood that does, they do smoke kielbasa's on Wednesdays and Friday mornings. And at 11:30, you get down there and get a warm kielbasa coil right out of the smoker, and it's to die for. It's amazing. And this place has been an institution of this neighborhood for decades. And so, yeah, great food, lots of, global influences here, and lots of European influences as well, manifest themselves in the food scene.
When the growing season, this is going to be a bit of a curveball. When the growing season is so much shorter than maybe your average, does the
Yeah.
quality of the food or the producers kind of ensure that that quality is that much more amplified and elevated because they're working with maybe a shorter amount of time as far as a growing season's concerned?
Yeah. Hey, good question, Jim. We have some great market farms here in Thunder Bay. We've noticed that over the last decade or so, we're seeing a lot of younger farmers get into the market farm business. I would say, De Bruin's Greenhouses grows these amazing sweet tomatoes almost year round, and they're a staple at the country market. You can buy them at local grocery stores and delis. And you're right, people really seek out the local flavors, and you start seeing local produce out, late June, all the way into early October here. And so at the country market or at local vendors, local grocers, Superior Seasons, which is a local market store within Goods & Co. in the Waterfront District right downtown, they really strive to carry, and they own a market farm themselves out just outside of the city. But it's a place where you can buy local and Ontario fresh produce and goods and meats that are grown by local and regional farmers, all under one roof within Goods & Co. downtown. And it's a staple on my weekly shopping list, is to pop in there and get some local stuff. And visitors love it too.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for someone planning their first Thunder Bay summer trip, what's the one piece of advice that you'd give them to make their experience that much more unforgettable?
Yeah. Yeah. Give yourself a bit more time than you think. Build an extra day or two into your itinerary. And certainly, we always tell folks, utilize the research tools to map out and plan out your days here. Our website, visitthunderbay.com, our annual visitor magazine, two really great tools. Follow us on our social media channels and really start to build out your itinerary and your trip, and give yourself a bit more time. And we often hear that from folks. They're passing through, they're doing a road trip, they're on a tight schedule, and they get here and say, boy, I wish I spent more time. I wish I built more time into my schedule. So advice would be, research, pick out in advance, plan your trip in advance. We're easy to get to, by air. We are a 14-hour drive from Toronto, and that drive is beautiful. If you're a road tripper, that drive between Sault Ste. Marie and Thunder Bay in particular, along the north shore of Lake Superior, to me, better than the Cabot Trail. It is one of the most renowned drives in North America. And if you haven't done it, definitely do it, because it's fantastic. But we're less than a 2-hour flight from Toronto as well. So, Air Canada out of Pearson, up to 3 times a day. Porter flies 4 times a day, up to 4 times a day out of the island. They also have a daily jet service from Pearson to Thunder Bay as well. So easy to get to from Toronto. We have 2 direct flights with Porter from Ottawa every day. We have 1 from Winnipeg, and we have 1 from Calgary. So, great air connectivity for Canadians that want to explore. And then for Americans, we're a 45-minute drive to the Minnesota border. And so we're easy to get to from the U.S. market. And in fact, we're the very top of Highway 61, which becomes I-35, which goes right down to the Mexican border. So, we're at the top of the highway there. And so easy to get to for folks from across North America. Plan out, the time you're going to take to get here, how you're going to get here, and definitely make time to explore, and bring your appetite, is what we tell folks. So because you want to explore, you want to check out the bakeries, you want to check out the coffee shops and the restaurants, and there's just really no shortage of it. And it's a great way to reward yourself after a day of exploring here. A lot of folks forge friendships here. And, they meet folks here, and it could be somebody at a restaurant, could be a friend they make on a sailboat, and people will stay in touch. And I think folks that love the outdoors, folks that are cyclists, they're paddlers, they love to explore the provincial parks, they keep coming back for that, because there's always something fresh and new there, and it never gets tired for a lot of people. They just want to keep coming back for that. And of course, the food scene. And we hear this a lot from people. Is they plan their trips to build time in because of a restaurant they want to check out. So folks keep coming back and say, well, you know what, I didn't make it to this one last time. I'm adding it to my list this time. And we're a major center for sports events and for business events. So we do get a lot of sport and business travelers and who do come here regularly, and they sort of have their list of favorites that they like to go through of restaurants.
Well, if you're not hooked up about going to Thunder Bay in the summertime, it's not our problem. If you're not already planning that itinerary, get on it. Paul Pepe from Thunder Bay Tourism, thank you so much for taking the time, good sir. It is always a pleasure talking Thunder Bay with you, and no matter what the season, there's always something happening in Lakehead, and I wish you continued success and a plethora of more visitors who are willing to enjoy the flavors and experiences of your city.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jim. It's always great chatting with you. I know you're a big fan of Thunder Bay. You've been here a number of times. We're going to keep bringing you back up here for sure. Always love chatting with you. You're such a big champion for us. We always appreciate, sharing all that's good about T-Bay to the world.
Thanks, Paul, and we'll chat again soon.
That was good.